Welcome to the Community Forum. My name is John Goliatino. I'm your host. This evening we're going to be changing gears from our more serious topics, and we're getting into an even more serious topic, baseball. Baseball in the Danbury area goes by the name of the Westerners. And with me tonight are my old friends, Mike Malone and Terry Whalen. Mike is the president of the Westerners, and Terry is the general manager of the Westerners. And we're going to get into what's going on this year, and hold on to your seats, and here we start. Welcome to the show,
John,
guys.
thank you.
Welcome, John.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just before we get into questions, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself as to how you came to your current position, and same for you, Terry, starting with Mike.
Well, I've been volunteering with the Westerners since I think 1999, and it's an all-volunteer organization, and it's had some terrific leaders in the past, Mario Tiani and Dick Murray, Martin Medford, and others. And it is the hometown baseball team for Danbury, and we're very proud to be a part of it. And it's great to put first-class competition on the field in Danbury in the New England Collegiate
How did you
League.
come to Danbury yourself before you got involved with the Westerners?
Primarily, how did I hear about the Westerners?
No, how did you come to Danbury? Did you come here because of work? I just want a little bit about yourself.
Basically, I came here from Minnesota via New Jersey, so it was a long, crooked trip, but I eventually got here, and now I live in New Milford.
Right.
And I got to watch some of the old Westerner games on this channel on occasion, and I saw this, and I saw it in the newspaper, went to a few games, and became an avid fan as well. So that's primarily how I got involved.
Okay, very good.
So,
Terry, a little bit about yourself also, and how you got connected.
I'm originally from Ohio, and grew up in a very athletic and sports-minded family. Left Ohio in the 70s and was employed by IBM. Had an opportunity to travel quite a bit. In the travels, we ended up in the Armonk area, and to commute to Armonk, I lived in Danbury. We thought we'd be here for a couple of years, and that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's a few years.
Yeah, right.
And how did you get involved with the Westerners?
Well, being sports-minded, I coached at youth baseball and other sports groups, but youth baseball since about since we got here. And went all the way through, organized the Candlewood Valley Senior Babe Ruth, and was president of that for a couple of years. And when I joined the board of the Westerners, and when the opportunity arose in the general management area, I was fortunate enough to get that position, and I look forward to working with the college kids and bringing them in there each summer, and trying to put a competitive team on the field each summer.
Right. Yeah, let's get into that a little bit. We didn't talk about that before we started, but it's tough to, there's a lot of the boys of summer, so to speak, activity that goes on.
Yes.
For example, every year you're recruiting, I don't think you have too many repeats, right? You're practically recruiting a new team. You may have a few to come back.
Right.
Right? So when does that process start?
We end our season around the 15th of August, and the recruiting for the new team starts September the 1st. So
there's not much of a break.
No, not much of a break at all.
Right.
And if you don't move quickly, you'll lose the better players to some of the other leagues like the Cape Cod or the Great Lakes League or one of the Carolina leagues. So you have to move quickly and try to pick out the talent that you're looking for early.
How many teams are in the New England league?
We have 12 teams. Each of the 6 New England states is represented. Connecticut has 3, Massachusetts has 3, and then there are 4 teams spread out: Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, and in that area. So everyone's represented. 12 teams, and very, very competitive, and they recruit talent from around the country, from California and Washington State, down through Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and up through the Carolinas. Danbury's had several players from Canada on the team, and they've done quite well. Usually they're pitchers, and they do quite well. So
good to hear. Now, there's also work in the front office, I guess, that has to be done, and I guess at this time of year you're involved with looking for housing for the players that are going to be coming in, and of course you constantly have to work on raising money for the teams, because you know, how many sponsors do you have? Do you have like corporate sponsors, or is it mainly small donations, or is it a combination?
It's a combination of everything. We sort of run it like most small not-for-profits. We have a direct mail program. We have corporations that we visit and develop some stewardship with. We do small businesses and individual donors as well. It costs us about $100,000 a year to keep the team on the ball field. And it gets very, very expensive, particularly this year with busing and the cost of fuel, and not to mention what it costs for umpires, bats, balls, and at all.
So that keeps you, that's pretty much your full-time vacation.
Yeah, and we're all volunteers, we're all part-time, and we just try to fit it in, and so it's a real collegial effort on our parts anyway.
Right, so describe what do you do for housing at this time of the year?
Well, primarily we hope, this is the second year that we've had the host family program, and last year was the first. We had a few bumps trying to get it off the ground. This year we're in a little better shape. We still have about four or so hosts that we still need, so we're working very hard to find folks that would house some kids for the summer. It's about a 7-week season, and the people that have done it in the past have really got a lot out of it, and it's a great deal for them as well as to the kids that we do it for.
Now, what's the requirement? Just if somebody has a house and they have a spare room, or do they have to provide a meal, or how does that work?
They don't necessarily have to provide a meal. However, most people do leave the refrigerator open. Most of the kids do drive. The biggest thing is it just gives them a domicile where they can stay, and also it gives them a family. Often the people who are hosts have young children, and these guys are the stars of tomorrow, so who knows, maybe someday some of them will make it to, we know that most of them will make it to professional baseball, but someday some of them might make it to the big leagues. And we've to date had about 9 kids who have played Major League Baseball. So it's kind of fun to see that. The most recent was, I'm trying to remember his name.
Bergman, DeSalva.
DeSalva, and a young man that just made the Detroit Tigers, Matt Joyce. And he played for us just 4 years ago. It was just kind of nice to see.
So the people that hosted him.
Yeah, so that's kind of,
that's our guy.
That's our guy, and he's playing for the Detroit Tigers, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is. Okay, what kind of schedule? You basically just play the teams in New England, or I think this year you're doing something different, right? Aren't you playing? Yeah, we were joking before. I think you played the Italians. No, we talked about you played the Russians.
Yeah,
right.
Last year
maybe you want to talk about the Russians, how you played the Russians, and who you're playing this year. Of course, you're not traveling to China, right?
No, we had last year the Russians. We played the Russians and hosted them, and it was quite interesting. I think they only had one player who actually spoke English, so we were fortunate. John Fitzpatrick, who's on the board.
So they weren't really they were real Russians as opposed to just people with Russian names.
Right, exactly. It was a real deal. And John Fitzgerald had a niece who had majored in Russian and was there, and she acted as a primary interface, and it worked out exceptionally well. And through her, we were able to communicate quite well. But who
won?
We won 4-3, so it was quite a well-played game. And this year, we're going to have a similar experience. We're hosting Team China, and Team China has been pretty much a project for Major League Baseball. They've taken special interest in the Chinese. That's a huge potential market for them, as you might imagine. But they've developed baseball in China quite well, and they want, with the Olympics coming up, they want this team to get some exposure. So they'll be coming to the States, and we'll be playing them. And in addition, the Dominican Republic, which thrives on baseball, and they have a lot of baseball academies down there. They have a collegiate team that's coming, so we'll be playing the Dominican Republic team as well. And there are a lot of Dominicans in the area, in the Danbury area.
Oh, yeah.
And we look forward to making contact with them and just having quite a festive event with that.
That's very interesting. Yes. So there's 12 teams. So you play yourselves,
yes.
But you also have these others. So what kind of schedule do you have?
Oh, it's a pretty grueling schedule, and there are 42 games played in less than 50 days. And we have a northern division and a southern division. We play home and home with each of the 6 northern division teams. So we go up to Sanford, Maine, and Keene, New Hampshire, and Concord. So it's quite a bit of traveling. And then the southern division teams we play 6 times, 3 home and 3 away. And it's just quite a bit of traveling. On the northern division travels, the guys would leave about 10 o'clock in the morning, play their game at 7 o'clock at night, and get back about 3 in the morning. And most of them are working, so they get up the next day to go out to baseball clinics and teach kids how to play baseball. So, and then that evening they'll come back from the clinic and start baseball again. They'll have a home game probably. So there aren't many days that they have off during the whole time that they're here.
Do they have some kind of allowance, or they all come with some money because they know they're going to be playing ball intensely, and there's no time to earn any money?
Right. Well, you're absolutely right. It's basically we provide them housing, and hopefully the host families will provide some food. But the players understand that they're liable for their own feeding themselves and cleaning their clothes and keeping their uniforms clean, which is primary importance to us.
Right.
So they do need some money, but a lot of the college coaches in the area will hire them so they can go out to these clinics during the day, and they can make a few dollars doing that, and that tides them over for their gas money and some meal money, and assist them in getting through the summer that way.
Okay. Now, there was a mention of, I guess, during the schedule sometime or halfway through that you're going to have something new, or is it 2 years old, a kids game?
We're actually have a youth game which is going to be played at noon this year. I think it's June 27th. And we do a lot of things with youth. We actually start on June 7th, a Saturday morning. We offer a free clinic, which is done by our coaches and players. And it's not offered just to kids from Danbury. It's offered from kids from all over the surrounding towns, the greater Danbury area. It's a clinic. It goes from 9 to 12. We give the kids pizza, T-shirts, and we have some great sponsors that help us do that. But it's a good learning thing. In addition to that, we're running this year for our first time ever our own camp, and that's going to be run from I think the 23rd through the 26th. And then to cap that off on the next day, the 20th.
Where's that happening?
All at Rogers Park.
At Rogers Park, okay.
Rogers Park. So if people are interested, they can certainly call 203-788-3408. If they're interested in the clinic, which is on the 6th, they can call the Parks Department over at Hatters Park to sign up. And you must have a birth certificate or proof of age to participate in the clinic. We have to do that for insurance purposes.
And do they have to be residents of any particular towns, or
any of the local area towns?
Any area town would qualify.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so it's not limited to just the immediate towns.
Part of our philosophy is everything that we do is free for kids. Kids are never charged to go to the games, and that's why this game on the 27th is unique, because it's basically going to start at noon. It's sort of a camp day game, so everybody that comes in it's a freebie. And then it has a little second motif in that we're calling it health is a poppin', and we're going to have all kinds of vendors there, interactive tables, and it's an opportunity for small businesses and people in the health professions that want to interact with children to do some things that are very positive. There'll be people doing things with reading, all, you know, and all sorts of fun games.
We can't get too specific because of
Right.
Comcast rules, but
Okay.
there is going to be like some education going on.
Right, but it's free.
Okay,
and that's part of our
that's good.
mantra.
Free is good. Okay. Do you have a website that describes the Westerners and gives a little detail on the information?
Yes, www.danburyWesterners.com.
Okay.
And it links into the NECBL, all the other 11 teams as well. But it takes you back to the history. Danbury began in the league in 1994, so you can go on to the website and you can look at the statistics for all the players that played in the last 14 years and just see how they performed. You can see how the Westerners did against the competition, where they ended up in the standings. The 2 years that they made it to the championship game have yet to bring home the championship hardware, but did play in 2 championship games. And
you didn't get your rings and things?
No, I haven't gotten the rings yet. We're still...
Wow.
It's the elusive rings.
They must have gotten lost somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they're out in China.
I think they kept getting lost up in Newport and Keene.
It'd be a slow boat to China.
All right. So then the other thing we wanted to talk about also is that there's a breakfast coming up. This is one of your ways of raising the $100,000, and we can't get too specific, and we can't get into the ticket price and all, but that's coming up in June. What date is that again?
June 6th, and it's at the Ethan Allen Hotel at 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
And
who's coming?
Joe Pepitone, former Yankee, 3-time All-Star, a very interesting character and a very, very good player, particularly in his earlier career. So, and he has a lot of great anecdotes about his participation with the Yankees because he played in the era with Mickey Mantle and Billy Martin and all those guys. So it's kind of neat.
Great. And let's see here. We were going to get into the roster. You've got the roster all, maybe you can give us a little more specifics about where they come from.
Sure.
Are there any Connecticut guys there?
Yes, we have quite a few Connecticut guys.
Okay.
Brad Pippa and Bobby DiNardo, who are outstanding ball players at Danbury High. They'll both be coming back. This will be the 3rd year for each of them to play with the Westerners.
Oh, you do have a couple of guys that came back. Okay.
We're trying to build a program, and the guys that can contribute and let the new guys coming in know what it's all about. It helps us build, I think. There's a young man that we're especially excited about, Melvin Castillo. He graduated from Danbury High School. He's currently playing at Eastern Connecticut State University. He's a shortstop, third baseman, and he made All-America last year as a freshman. And he just is an exceptionally talented player. He's a 5-tool player. He can do everything: run, hit, throw, catch, power, hits for average. So he's an outstanding ball player. And we have a young man from New Milford, Tony Patain, who's also exceptionally good. He played at Avery Point, UConn Avery Point last year. This year he's playing at the University of Maine, and he's doing very well, leading the team in quite a few of the statistics. And from UConn, we have a young man, a Connecticut boy, who's 18 years old. He's playing shortstop. Mike Alt. Mike's leading the team in home runs and RBI. He plays shortstop. Another exceptional ball player. So,
any others from the greater New England, or?
We have John Felino is coming. He's another returning player. He pitched very well for us last year. When our season was over, the Cape Cod came and asked him to pitch for them. So he played in their finals and their championship games. Did quite well. He had a very nice year at UConn this year. And if he does not get drafted, he'll be draft eligible. And if he does not get drafted, he'll be back playing with us. There's a Massachusetts boy that did very well. And he came in his first year. He kind of stumbled through and feeling his way. In his second year, he made a big impression, and this year he's done quite well at college. So he's a Massachusetts boy. We have kids from St. John's and University of Maine and UConn and Fordham And
Who comes the furthest? Is there somebody from California, or nobody came that
nobody
far?
this year from California. We have had kids from California. Probably the further, and we had Louisiana and Florida in the past. This year, probably the furthest is Oklahoma, I believe. So, bringing them, we found last year too, bringing them in from all four corners of the U.S. got to be pretty expensive paying the travel money. We only pay half of it. We pay their return trip, but still got to be pretty expensive. And we found some outstandingly talented athletes that were nearby, and there's little or no expense in bringing them in, and so that
it's just a little gas money to go 30 miles as opposed to you know, 3,000 miles or 1,500 miles. Right.
And take that airplane and those kind of things. So.
Before I get into a couple last questions here, you've got some props there. Any particular thing that you wanted to point out there? Is that like one of your stars there, or the picture of, on the my
John
right?
John Bellis is there.
That was John Bellis. He played for us a few years ago. He was a sort of a tough competitor, a beautiful swing, as you can see. The other thing in the picture there is our mascot.
The mascot right above him?
Right.
Okay.
His name is Westy.
Okay.
Or her name is Westy.
Oh, it's a she.
Well, it could be.
Okay. Oh, the people just have to guess on that one.
Yes, we
Keep them guessing.
We just know that Westy's about 7 feet, 8 feet tall. And
it swings a mean bat.
That's true. It's a wooden bat too. This is a wooden bat baseball league.
Oh yeah, I want to ask you about that.
And that's a shock to a lot of the kids because they're using aluminum, and all of a sudden, batting averages in the beginning are not quite as lofty as they were in their college season. So it's a big adjustment to learn to get used to the wooden bats. But that's one of the things the league does. Provides that opportunity.
There's something that unique to the league, that the wooden bat over the aluminum, even though the aluminum seems to be going over everywhere. But
yeah, well, now more and more it's starting to change.
It's going back.
It's starting to come back to wood right now, basically because of the ball seems to be able to move quicker off the aluminum bat, and with youth leagues, it's probably, if they can afford it, better to go with wood. Ball will probably carry further with an aluminum, but the wood bat, it gets out there quicker and it's a little scarier. So it's probably
there's more innovation that they can put up with.
And there's nothing better than the sound of a wood bat off the ball as opposed to the ping. But that's just my prejudice. The other little poster over there is a couple years ago we played Team USA. And that was kind of a neat team because they had Mike Pelfrey was on that team, who was with the Mets, and a few others. And we played them fairly competitive. We played them 2 years. We're going more to the international teams this time around, and it's very rewarding, basically, both for the community and for our players. It's really a nice opportunity for us and for them.
Okay. Now, how many of your players have you kept track since you started? Have actually made it to the big league or the big time or the show?
9 have made it to the show. There's well over 100 that have signed professional contracts.
In other words, they're working for one of the farm teams.
Yes. And close to 500 have graduated from college, and I think that's also an important thing. Plus, we also have interns who have made it in professional sports. We have broadcasters, we have public address announcers, we have official scorers, we have cameramen, we have merchandise people, we have marketing people. So we've got 6 or 7 interns that are also, it's part of their internship as well. And
of course, that internship gives you an in, because if you've learned this at this level, Oh, you got some experience? How long did you do that over here? That means a lot. It's what you, it's who you know, not what you know. In some cases, but here they want a combination of the two. You know somebody, and you actually worked at it, and you're ready for the the show or the next level down, as opposed to somebody who's coming out of school and just, yeah, I want to get in,
Right.
and you don't have any experience.
We've had two broadcasters became the all-league broadcasters, and this is in the last 5 years. And they got to be able to do the All-Star game, and it's kind of neat to see that happen. And one is still working in amateur baseball, the other is doing professional baseball. So it's kind of nice to see that happen.
Okay, and your telephone number again for anybody that wants to intern this time.
If you want to intern or come to any of the events, it's 203-788-3408.
And that website once again?
www.danburyWesterners.com.
Okay.
And one thing I'd like to mention, John, is
we still have a couple.
okay.
Right.
Sean Fesh, who's a pretty big celebrity out of Bethel, who was drafted out of high school, spent 17 years in professional baseball, didn't quite make it to the big leagues, but had an outstanding career, ended his career down with the Bluefish in Bridgeport, playing for Tommy John. Just had an outstanding experience. Sean is going to be our pitching coach this year to bring those years of experience to the young kids.
Yeah, that was one of my last questions.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Let me ask you about who you got pitching.
Okay.
I mean, who you got coaching.
Coaching, very fortunate, out of Keystone College in La Plume, Pennsylvania, the home of Christy Matheson. Two of our coaches, Jamie Shevchik, who's the head coach there. He's been coach of the year 3 out of the last 5 years in their conference. And Jay Snyder is his hitting coach. In their conference, they've lost 3 games in the last 6 years. So they've just been done exceptionally well. And looking forward to them. They're young, aggressive, enthusiastic, and just great with the players. And by their records, you can tell that they know the game and they can manage it very well. And then Sean Fesh, of course, will be a key factor with the pitching staff and bring them along and really help develop them. So we feel very confident with our it's the first year for all 3 of those coaches, and we feel very confident what they're going to bring to Danbury.
And are there any other volunteers in the minute that we got left, any other volunteer opportunities? You're looking for people to help with housing. You're looking for interns to work with you in different capacities, and you're also looking for people to go to the breakfast and help the team out. Any other opportunities that to help out that we've left out?
Well, basically, we could use people to help us out at the games. We need a lot of nuts and bolts people. We need people that are ticket takers. Whatever people have as an expertise, we certainly would discuss it with them, and we certainly can find a job for just about everybody. So we're ready and willing to work with people.
Because it holds your costs down and gets the job done.
Sure.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, John.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I want to thank the viewers for tuning in the Community Forum. Tune in next week, same time, same station. I'm sure we'll have another interesting program. Good night for now, and we'll see you then.
It's a good girl turn.